Israel approves first reading of death penalty bill for Palestinian prisoners. Global reaction. In a move that's sparking massive debate around the world, Israel's parliament has just approved the first reading of a highly controversial bill, a law that could allow the death penalty for Palestinian prisoners accused of killing Israeli citizens. The decision has set off a storm of anger among human rights groups, divided Israel's own parliament, and raised deep questions about justice, discrimination, and political power. Stay with us as we break down what happened inside the Israeli Knesset, who's behind this bill, and what it could mean for Palestinians, Israel's democracy, and the ongoing Middle East crisis. On Monday night, Israel's Knesset, or parliament, held a heated session that ended with the approval of a new bill in its first reading. Out of 120 members, 39 voted in favor and 16 voted against. Though this is only an initial step, the decision is being described as a major political moment, one that could pave the way for state-sanctioned executions of Palestinian detainees in Israel. The proposal came from Itamar Ben-Gvir, Israel's far-right national security minister and leader of the Jewish Power Party, one of the most hardline factions in Israeli politics. According to Israel's public broadcaster, KAN, the bill specifically targets individuals accused of killing Israeli citizens under what it calls acts of hate or terrorism. But critics say this law isn't about justice, it's about revenge and racial bias. The draft law lays out strict conditions for when the death penalty can be imposed. It states that anyone who intentionally or recklessly causes the death of an Israeli citizen, especially if done out of hatred, racism, or an intent to harm the state of Israel, can be sentenced to death. Once such a sentence is issued, it cannot be reduced or overturned. That means no appeals, no leniency, and no possibility of sentence reduction. Supporters of the bill, including Ben-Gvir himself, claim it's necessary to deter future terrorist attacks and ensure justice for Israeli victims. Shortly after the vote, Ben-Gvir took to social media platform X, formerly Twitter, celebrating the result. He wrote, "Jewish power has made history. We promised this law, and we delivered. The death penalty for terrorists has passed its first reading." The parliamentary debate was anything but peaceful. During the session, a heated argument broke out between Arab-Israeli lawmaker Ayman Odeh and Minister Ben-Gvir. The two exchanged harsh words that almost led to a physical confrontation before security stepped in. Odeh accused Ben-Gvir and his allies of promoting racist policies and trying to legitimize state murder. This fiery exchange reflects the deep divide within Israeli politics, between those pushing for extreme measures in the name of security and those warning that Israel is crossing a moral and legal line. Human rights organizations, both Israeli and international, have reacted with outrage. Groups like B'Tselem, Human Rights Watch, and Amnesty International argue that this law is not about security, but rather a targeted policy against Palestinians. They warn that if implemented, it would deepen Israel's already criticized system of two-tier justice, where Palestinians face harsher punishment than Israelis for similar offenses. Critics say this bill is a clear violation of international human rights conventions, which discourage the death penalty, especially in conflict zones where fair trials are often in question. A spokesperson for Amnesty International said, "This is not a justice reform. It's an apartheid expansion, a law designed to legalize discrimination and collective punishment." To understand why this bill matters, we need to look at the bigger picture. As of now, over 10,000 Palestinians, including women and children, are being held in Israeli prisons. According to both Palestinian and Israeli human rights groups, many detainees suffer from torture, medical neglect, and poor living conditions. Some have reportedly died due to abuse or lack of treatment. The new law, critics fear, could legitimize these conditions, turning Israel's prison system into an even harsher tool of political control. They argue that instead of seeking peace or addressing the root causes of violence, Israel's far-right leaders are trying to weaponize punishment, using fear to strengthen their political base. This bill isn't just about punishment, it's also about politics. Prime Minister Netanyahu's coalition relies heavily on far-right parties like Ben-Gvir's Jewish Power and Bezalel Smotrich's religious Zionism faction. These parties demand hardline laws against Palestinians as the price of their political support. By approving this bill's first reading, Netanyahu's government appears to be appeasing these allies to keep his fragile coalition from collapsing. Some analysts believe this move is a political distraction, shifting focus from internal corruption scandals, economic issues, and global criticism of Israel's actions in Gaza and the West Bank. But the cost of this political game, they warned, could be enormous, both morally and internationally. The global response has been swift. Several European nations and Middle East observers have condemned the move, calling it a dangerous escalation. The United Nations Human Rights Office expressed concern that such a law would violate the right to life and could amount to state-sanctioned execution under occupation. Palestinian officials, meanwhile, have denounced the bill as a declaration of open war on the Palestinian people. They argue that this law could be used to execute Palestinians on politically motivated charges rather than proven criminal acts. Even within Israel, moderate and left-wing politicians warn that introducing the death penalty could further isolate Israel internationally, damaging its already strained relationships with Western allies. The bill still needs to pass 2 more readings. It will now go back to Knesset committees for further debate and possible amendments. However, given the current composition of Israel's parliament, dominated by right-wing and ultra-nationalist members, many believe it could eventually pass. If that happens, it would mark the first time in Israel's modern history that the death penalty is applied to Palestinian prisoners under such specific political conditions. So what does all this mean? Supporters say it's justice for victims. Critics say it's vengeance wrapped in law. But one thing is clear. This move will reshape Israel's legal landscape and deepen its moral and political divide. As debates rage on, the world watches, questioning whether this is truly about security or another step down a dangerous path of state extremism. What do you think? Is Israel justified in bringing back the death penalty for terrorism? Or is this a dark turning point in its history? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on global politics and human rights news.